Perseus is a 15-2 Oldenburg Cross Thoroughbred. He is 5 years old and bred for eventing. Backed in the spring of 2016, he has been under saddle for just under a year at the start of the training program. The problem is highlighted in these first videos. Perseus struggles to strike off on the correct canter lead and will often change leads in front, causing him to become disunited. Conflict behaviours can be seen throughout this clip as he attempts to evade the contact from the rider's hands. The lack of balance causes him to use speed in a negative way. The neck is stiff and the horse and rider both look tense, which also adds to the issue of speed. The horse regularly sits behind the bit and will not accept the contact and step into the bridle. In trot, the hindquarters don't follow the horse and drift onto an outside track. The shoulders do not stay aligned and the horse uses a fixed head and neck position to drift around a circle. Evasion of the bit is seen through raising the head, shaking the head and pulling sharply downwards. This unseats the rider and causes further imbalance. The rider takes a forward seat with a fixed back position. The leg is unstable and the hands move around too much. This creates conflict signals to the horse, which then causes confusion. Incorrect aids and aids given at the wrong time contribute to the lack of straightness and overuse of speed in the horse. When the correct canter lead is achieved, the horse is encouraged to ride the canter forwards. Sudden bursts of speed due to a lack of balance cause the horse to lose straightness. Potentially, the horse could be ridden on a smaller circle, which would encourage the horse to sit back on the hindquarters and relax in the canter. However, this will also be more difficult for the young horse and cause further imbalances. The rider needs to take a deeper seat and lift the hands. This will relax the back and help to free up the horse's shoulders, allowing for more lift with the front end. Experimentation with a light seat will benefit the horse in an established canter, as the horse will be able to move through the back freely. Pole work is a good exercise for young horses to encourage the horse to take a longer stride and lift the shoulders. They can be used in all three gaits. Perseus used in-hand pole work throughout his rehab following a fascia injury in his hindquarters. Pole work was introduced early in the backing process in walk and has progressed into trot. Poles can be used in all three gaits, and Perseus will eventually move on to canter poles. Poles can help with establishing a good rhythm and also help to break up a schooling session and give the horse and rider a fresh focus. Perseus is rushing through the pole exercise and the rider needs to use their seat to slow the horse down. Sitting deeper into the saddle in rising trot and closing the knee for a half halt will encourage the horse to slow down over the poles. The horse is continuing to fall out and drift with the hindquarters through the circle, which means that riding straight into the poles is difficult. The rider uses their balance to attempt to straighten the horse into the poles, and riding into the poles and away from them in a straight line will improve the even muscle tone of the horse. Establishing canter transitions in between pole work will aim to keep the horse fresh and focused on the rider, listening to the aids that are being given. This short clip shows the attempt of slowing the horse into the poles. The rider is ensuring the horse is straight upon approach. Slowing the horse down engages the hindquarters and allows the horse to work through the back, therefore building up the correct top line muscles that the horse needs for a higher level of work. On the flat, using circles in trot, the rider sits to the offside diagonal and changes the diagonal every 6 to 8 strides. This means that the rider sits on the opposing hind legs. This engages the hind limbs and encourages the horse to correct the imbalance of the rider to his own accord. Changing to the lead also causes the horse to back off in the trot, and by controlling the rising of the rider, this sits the horse off of the shoulders, causing a lighter leg action in front. Training aids have rarely been used in the training of this horse, however a bungee has been used in this instance to encourage the horse to stretch into the contact and travel forwards into the bridle. In walk, using the inside leg behind the girth, small amounts of leg yield was achieved on a circle to push the hindquarters in line with the shoulders. In trot, the bungee helps to settle the horse and minimize the evasion behavior seen through head tossing and throwing the head upwards. A full assessment of his teeth and back is done regularly by professionals. The rider looks more relaxed in the trot with an open knee position, shoulders back and keeping the hands still. Using a deepened rising position, the horse is encouraged to slow down the trot and sit back onto the hindquarters. There are still a few breaks in the rhythm seen, as the horse uses speed to evade the use of underdeveloped muscles. As the correct muscle tone is increased, the rhythm and contact will become more consistent. The issue of the shoulder popping out in walk and trot on a circle is more evident on the left rein. The rider uses the inside leg behind the girth to push the hindquarters out and brings the outside leg forward to tap the horse on the shoulder. This subtle technique encourages the horse to bring the shoulders back in line. It is essential that the rider maintains an even balance and consistent rein pressure to keep the shoulders straight. Another technique introduced is counterflexion on both reins. Counterflexion involves moving the head and neck position to the outside, causing the shoulders to move into the circle on a straight line. The rider is shifting their body weight to the inside of the saddle, which helps the horse to put his weight onto the inside shoulder. Rein aids applied are released when the horse conforms, which is a clear signal of negative reinforcement. The horse is given regular breaks when learning new schooling movements. In this second video showing the counterflexion, the horse shows fewer conflict behaviours. The rider appears more confident with a relaxed lower leg position and sitting back with open shoulders and consistent rein pressure. Gaining confidence in schooling movements in walk allows the rider to progress confidently onto attempting the movements in faster gaits. The horse appears relaxed and calm with a loose tail position, relaxed ears and a softened frame. When creating a true counterflexion, the neck should be straight at the withers. Creating an over-exaggerated counterflexion presents false bend and can cause damage to muscles. Incorporating a variety of counterflexions on both reins and basic leg yielding on a circle varies the horse's workload and varies the muscles being used throughout the training session. Simple walking sessions can help to build top line faster than incorrect schooling sessions, and the spine is more mobile in the walk when carrying a rider, which increases the horse's flexibility and capacity to cope with higher levels of work later on in their ridden careers. Lunging allows the horse to move freely without carrying a rider. Pole work on the lunge encourages joint flexion, and the horse will naturally stretch down the neck over the poles, engaging the muscles along the top line and through the hind quarters. Varying the width of trotting poles can encourage the horse to lengthen and shorten the stride without the influence of a rider on board. Lunging also establishes voice commands between the horse and the rider and gives the rider the opportunity to assess the horse between ridden sessions from the ground. Taking the horse to a local competition allowed the horse to be exposed to novel stimuli that he may not have faced before. Following a relaxed warm-up, Perseus became very anxious when entering the indoor arena alone. Tension through the back and neck can be seen, and the horse uses head tossing and throwing the head up as a means of coping with stress. The horse bucked several times throughout the test, which the rider believed was a conflict behaviour, as the horse was confused and in a novel situation. Despite the horse becoming tense and difficult to ride, the rider felt confident, which may not have been the case at the start of this training schedule. The rider felt that they had the correct tools to deal with the behaviour from the horse. Repeated exposure to performing in different environments is essential for the horse in able to progress in his ridden career. To let loose following the dressage, the horse was introduced to cross-country schooling. Using small logs, picket fences and undulating ground, the horse was encouraged to move forwards and find a pace for himself in walk, trot and canter. The horse was moving forwards into the fences and the rider attempts to take a back seat, letting the horse work out the balance for himself. Schooling in a level school with a good surface gives the horse the best setup for balancing with the rider. Introducing Perseus to riding a cross-country on ground that is unlevel is essential if a career in eventing is likely in the future. Cantering in a light seat allows the horse to move freely through the back without the rider applying excessive pressure to the vertebrae. In regular lessons with dressage trainer Lynn Riddell, Perseus has progressed in the trot. This simple exercise in trot involves riding the long side of the school in a counterflexion. If the rider struggles to maintain the counterflexion in rising trot, a light seat is used to keep a secure lower leg behind the girth. The horse is encouraged to straighten naturally when approaching the corner, with no outside assistance from the rider. The rider must shift the weight from the inside of the saddle to the centre of the saddle to ensure that the shoulders remain aligned and the hindquarters remain on the same track. A 15-metre circle in the corner of the school brings the horse onto an inside flexion, which allows the horse to create a more natural bend to the inside. The rider also uses a variation of seat weights to change the tempo of the trot. Sitting deeply into the saddle in rising trot on the 15-metre circles keeps the horse steady and sitting back onto the hindquarters. The horse maintains a more even rhythm in the trot in this video as he has built up the correct muscles to stabilise himself. On the long side, the rider takes a lighter riding position, creating an exaggerated upwards push into the stirrups. This encourages the horse to lift through his shoulders and open up the stride. The tempo is not necessarily changed, but the front end is encouraged to lift and open up. Small amounts of sitting trot is also introduced, with the rider pushing to the left and right in each stride. This encourages an even use of the shoulders, which prepares the horse for a more balanced canter. In this final video, this shows Perseus cantering on the right rein. The rider is relaxed, sitting deeply into the saddle. A variation of light seat and deep seat has been used in the canter to prepare the horse for different disciplines. Using poles on a circle keeps the horse's focus and gives the horse the chance to stretch forward in the canter over the poles. Maintaining an even balance and shifting the rider's weight to the outside of the saddle when asking for canter transitions has helped the horse to strike off on the correct lead on both reins. Moving forward, the tempo of the canter needs to be improved and a push of weight to the hindquarters needs to begin.